And a very good evening to you and welcome to the programme here at RAF Waddington, marking 100 years of service from here and also Cranwell and Scampton. Now, RAF Waddington opened in 1916 and in its time has been operational during World War I, World War II, the Cold War and also more recent conflicts. It's also coming right up to date, it's the home of the Reaper drone, as you know, controlled from here just a few hundred yards from where I'm standing, but planes flying many miles away. Waddington is also the home to two surveillance aircraft, the AWACS, the Sentry, which will be going on later in the programme, and also this, the Sentinel, one of the most advanced aircraft that the RAF have in surveillance, and it's currently being used on the other side of the world in the fight against terrorism. So marking 100 years of the RAF, and it brings so much to the county in the form of tourism and business. But just how important is the RAF to the county of Lincolnshire? Sarah Corker has this report.
If you live in Lincolnshire, the sights and sounds of the RAF are never far away. The breathtaking displays of the red arrows in the skies above RAF Scampton, while Waddington is the RAF Surveillance and Intelligence Centre. And for a century, RAF Cranwell has trained new officers, including Prince William. Today the county plays a central role in national security.
The intelligence at Waddington, that's a centre of excellence for all the intelligence work that supports Iraq, Syria and operations around the world. So generally it's an ideal place that's built up over the years and continues, if you like, to develop its skills for UK PLC.
And Coningsby is the home of the Typhoon fleet. They can be supersonic in 30 seconds, ready to defend UK airspace. 5 operational bases across Lincolnshire employ around 9,500 RAF personnel and civilian staff. A report looking at a base of similar size to Waddington estimated it generates more than £90 million for the local economy, while aviation tourism brings more than 150,000 visitors to the county every year. The Panton family run this museum at the old East Kirkby airfield near Spilsby. The main attraction, taxi runs in this Lancaster bomber known as Just Jane.
The Lancaster rides are about a year in advance. We're looking at September 2017 at the moment. If you think about all the aviation sites in the county and how popular aviation history is in the country at the moment, there's millions of pounds spent in Lincolnshire.
And then there are the businesses that work with the RAF. This Lincoln aerospace firm provides safety advice. It's also designed new technology to detect unauthorised drones.
We've all got a vast wealth of experience operating all around the world in different theatres with surveillance technologies. Most of our guys have got over 5,000 hours flying experience.
And so across Lincolnshire, the RAF is part of the social and economic fabric of this county. Sarah Corker, BBC Look North.
Well, there we are. That's the importance of the RAF in economic terms to the county of Lincolnshire. But what about the contribution of the bases in the county to our national security? Well, I asked the Defence Secretary, Sir Michael Fallon, here at Waddington about just that.
Well, this is a campaign to protect Britain as well as to drive Daesh terrorists out of Iraq. This is to keep our streets safer. We have to deal with this appalling terrorist organisation. And the RAF bases here in Lincolnshire really are in the front line of that, helping to provide the intelligence and surveillance from the air. About a third of all that comes from British planes as part of a much wider coalition. And then, of course, also providing some of the strike aircraft through the unmanned aircraft that are piloted from Waddington.
Yes, let me ask you about those. Drones are flown from here. Why is the government so committed to using unmanned aircraft in war at the moment?
Well, it's much safer for the crews. It's involved, obviously. It's much more cost effective. They can be used for longer hours over the target and they're much more precise. So this is the new type of air warfare now, unmanned planes, but operating to exactly the same rules of engagement as I approve for the targeted strikes that are carried out by our typhoons and tornadoes.
Let me just talk about Lincolnshire. The bases here contribute millions to the local economy. Are the bases future secure?
The bases here are a huge part of the Royal Air Force. I can't think of any county that does more for the Royal Air Force than Lincolnshire, and of course there's a wonderful history going all the way back to the dam buster squadrons and
are they secure
the Second World War. The RAF is going to be here in Waddington and Coningsby for a long time to come. It's always been an ideal place for the RAF to operate from.
You're here in Lincolnshire. I know you've had a trip round Lincolnshire as well from the air. So let me ask you about this. A couple of years ago, David Cameron said we must always have the red arrows. Does Theresa May and yourself feel the same way?
Yes, the red arrows are out today. They're flying in Hong Kong and China. They are promoting Britain and our defence industries right across the Far East as we speak. So they are a key part of defence. Eventually, of course, we'll have to replace the aircraft. So we'll start to think about that in the next year or two. But I would certainly not want to see the red arrows
go. If you're thinking about replacing the aircraft, then that is the answer to that question is the red arrows are guaranteed. Huh?
The red arrows are going to be here to stay for a while yet. They're a key part of our defence engagement, as we call it, around the rest of the world. And I don't think the public would let us lose the red arrows very easily.
So that's not a fight that you would have?
Not a fight I would have. The red arrows are extremely popular with the public at air shows, but they're also an important part of our defence diplomacy.
Final question. We're marking 100 years of RAF service at Scampton, Waddington, Cranwell. When you reflect on the history of their operations, how important is Lincolnshire as a county to the RAF and the defence of the nation?
Lincolnshire has been central to the Royal Air Force from the days of the Dam Buster Squadron in the Second World War. I remember the Vulcan bombers bombing the Port Stanley runway in the Falklands War, taking off from here, and the work that's now being done to deal with this terrorism in the Middle East. You know, Lincolnshire is central to the RAF story, and long may it continue.
Minister, very good to meet you. Enjoy your day in Lincolnshire.
Thank you.
There we are, the Defence Secretary himself, Sir Michael Fallon, talking to me on Friday of last week. Interesting comments there about the red arrows and their future, which seems assured, and their importance, and also the importance of the bases in the county. What do they mean to you? Here's how to get in touch if you want to email in tonight, if you work at one of the bases or have families serving abroad. What about the red arrows? We heard there from Sir Michael their future is guaranteed, but is that future necessarily in Lincolnshire or necessarily still at Scampton? If you'd like to comment on this one tonight, the email address is there. The text number is 81333. Start the text with the word Look North as always, or follow me on Twitter, Peter_Levy. Tweet now. I look forward to hearing from you. Have some of your comments and stories before we finish tonight at 7 o'clock. Thank you for watching. We're live at RAF Waddington, and later in the programme we'll be looking at Lincolnshire's place in aviation history. But first of all, let's have some of the day's other news.